You're checking out the Victory Sports Network's NAIA Football with Dannelly and Donley. This program each and every week is brought to you by Huddle. If it weren't for Huddle, we would not have the fantastic video clips that we get to review each and every week to keep us all up to date on the world of NAIA football. Of course, Huddle keeping many NAIA programs going with all their film breakdowns, cut-ups, and all that jazz. Also, we are live on the Urban Edge Network. Thanks to our partnership with the Urban Edge Network, you get to see the Victory Sports Network's NAIA Football with Dannelly and Donley, not only on YouTube and Facebook and all the other great fun places, but you also get to check it out on the Urban Edge Network. And as always, this program is independently owned by the Victory Sports Network. It does not reflect the views of any NAIA institution or the NAIA National Office. All right, with that said, let's get a show going.
NAIA football is the true version of what college football is supposed to be. And it is the best classroom experience an 18 to 22-year-old male can have. One of the most valuable parts of a college education is that experience. It's life in a microcosm, and it's just something special for a young man to have to experience.
And don't you let a moment go without thinking about what's there for you to reach out and grasp.
This is the Victory Sports Network's NAIA Football with Dannelly and Donley. I am Jason Dannelly. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, albeit a couple seconds late on the start of the broadcast because we were kind of scrambling all back here, and I couldn't get my AirPods to connect tonight. But here we are, in for another season, in for another week of NAIA football talk from myself, Jason Dannelly, and of course my co-host, the guy that was NAIA Coordinator of the Year, two-time national champion, been in a national championship game 5 times, coordinator at an NAIA institution, the University of St. Francis, for over 20 years. That man is Pat Donley. What's up, Pat?
Hi, Jason. Thank you for all the tire pumping there, buddy. Appreciate it. I haven't coached in a while, man, but it's kind of fun to hear those things again.
He's a guy that hasn't coached a down of football since 2022, 2021.
2021 season, yeah. 21, yeah. Right.
He's a guy that hasn't coached football since 2021. What are we doing listening to him?
I know. It's like, I forgot everything. The game has just passed me by already, I'm sure. I don't think so. I'm still up to date. I like to watch a lot of film, and I watch games, of course. And, of course, the NAIA games that we're going to be talking about today are excited about watching. We talked about it for the last couple of weeks, Jason, on all these shows, like, oh, it's almost here. It's almost here. It's almost here. Well, it's here. And we've got some big-time games to talk about this upcoming weekend, holiday weekend, which was never a better time to extra day to kind of spend some time watching these great games, great Division I games, great NAIA games. It can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. We've got a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to be breaking down here in just a little bit on the program. A big slate of games. One thing I wanted to bring up to you, Pat, this is week 0. And traditionally, to me, not all the NAIA teams are playing in week 0. But as I start going through this week's schedule, nearly everybody seems like they are playing in week 0. So I don't know if it's kind of been schedule changing or if people are just finally saying, hey, if we got a chance to play football, let's do it. Seems like there's a lot more NAIA schools taking advantage of week 0 now.
I swear it seems like since we've been doing the show, Jason, there's a lot more interconference early season games. Where I think maybe 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when I was young in the coaching career, we were playing non-conference games like in the Division III level, some FCS, Division II. We're seeing a lot more, again, Frontier Conference versus, insert conference here, GPAC, whatever it may be, Mid-South versus Sooner Conference. Those type of matchups we're seeing more and more now.
Yeah, the Appalachian Athletic Conference
Right.
and the Sun Conference kind of having the non-conference agreement. Same with the Mid-South. Now, granted, at one point they were all kind of in the Mid-South, and then we've had some break off from there. But still, good to see that those schools, that those teams are saying, all right, let's make sure that we're playing some NAIA schools here, and there's some pretty good non-conference ones. Also coming up on the program here tonight, so long as I get everything working behind the scenes, we will have EJ Peterson join us. This is the Victory Sports Network. Not yet. That's the video right there that we'll play. Hey, I wore the same thing, Pat. Look at that.
Sometimes, Jason, we got to give a little peek behind the curtain that, not everything's live.
No.
So we do pre-record some things like interviews, things of that nature.
Well, we would love if we could get EJ Peterson on live, but he's got 2 kids at home, he's got a wife, he's got a football team to take care of, he's got all these things going on to try to say, hey, this window, we want to talk to you on Sunday night, albeit, during fall camp, probably the one time that you've told your family you're going to be at home, hey, you cut a half hour out with us. We talked to EJ earlier in the week. We'll have that interview a little bit later on here on the Victory Sports Network. So that is coming up.
Great interview. He's awesome. I tell you what a young, fiery coach, passionate at his alma mater. And we kind of talked about, man, it's got to be one of a dream job for him to come back. Well, he's been back for some time as the coordinator, but taking over that great program from both Woodleys, Woodley senior and junior. Now he takes over as the third coach in program history. It's a great interview. Stick around for that, folks.
Looking forward to that. Another little peek behind the scenes here. We've got EJ coming up, but like literally when this program started tonight, I had gotten on the stream about a minute before that. Headphones weren't working, couldn't get the iPad or the AirPods to connect. So I'm on this archaic thing here.
You sound good.
Like it's 1998. Peasant. It's all falling apart.
98, we were kids. Man, those were the days.
Yeah. Had the Discman, Sony Discman with the skip protection on it, because, then you could like move around with it a little bit and wouldn't, get a little 3-second memory blurb there. Yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about, Pat.
Those are the days. I remember them well.
So on tonight's program, we get into a little bit more of what I would like to say is our traditional in-season show. We're going to talk about the games that are coming up this weekend. Next week, we'll break down some of the top matchups that happened this week and the top games. Just because we might think it's a top matchup right now, we might not talk about that game next week because we could be way off. Could be a 50-0 blowout, and we're not going to waste 15 minutes breaking down that game. That was just an ass kicking. We don't need to waste our time on that. But let's get into it, Pat. As I mentioned before, all of the program here is also brought to you by Huddle and the Urban Edge Network. Thanks to them for making this possible. All right. Week 0, the Thursday featured games. Now, what I've done here, Pat, is I broke this out for us in what I think are the best games on Thursday, the best game on Saturday, and then we'll come back and we'll kind of take a look at the entire schedule. This one's just down the road from you. Maybe you've heard of these 2 squads, the University of Indianapolis. I know they're Division II. They probably haven't, they haven't come across your radar, have they?
I know them quite well. The head coach Chris Keevers and I are good friends, and defense coordinator Roger Blackman was on our staff at St. Francis, Fort Wayne guy. Yeah, I know these guys really well. Both of these programs were my number 1 and number 2 recruiting battle schools that we had when I was at St. Francis. So, yeah, really 2 great programs, Jason. UIndy has been a playoff team, I think, going on 10 consecutive years, something like that. They've won that league. Having a brain fart here of what that name of that league is.
Is that the GLIAC?
No, they're not GLIAC. They're the other one. The one that they were part of the GLIAC for years.
Like Great Lakes Valley.
Great Lakes Valley. There you go.
There you
go. GVLC. Yeah, they've won that league pretty much since the inception of that league. It's a private school league, so it's pretty competitive at the Division II level. They're a wagon there. They're pretty darn good. They really have the pick of the litter really here at the Division II level. High NAI players here in the state of Indiana. They got great players. Also a pretty good location, get some good transfers. So I think this battle with Marion, it's kind of been rekindled. I don't think these teams have played since I want to say 2016 maybe was the last time they played, and Marion drubbed UIndy. It was back when Marion just came off the national championship. They were pretty darn good back then, so they're kind of getting this. I think they call it Circle City Classic. They're giving it a name there in Indianapolis. So
I just wrote it too. I can't remember
I think it's Circle City Classic, something along those lines.
Yeah,
Circle City Rivalry, something along those lines is going to be the name of this game. But North Side, South Side, that type of thing. Marion's kind of northwest, but anyway, it is a really 2 great programs. I mean, really are. And Coach Karras in that group, we talked about in the last couple of weeks how they are poised to get back in the national contention once again. Yes, they've been in the playoffs 2 years ago in Coach Karras' first year. Kind of had an anomaly type year for Marion University last year, not being in the postseason, really coming down to that game with St. Francis. the latter part of October, who was going to get in the playoff and win the league and who wasn't. Probably going to be the same way again in that Mid-States West once again. But this is a bragging rights. This is a recruiting base, feather in your cap, if you will, from a recruiting standpoint there in Central Indiana, really across the state and region. So this is going to be a good football game. I recommend people. It's Thursday night. Great time to pop on the live stream. It's going to be a great environment there on the northwest side of Indianapolis at St. Vincent's Field. It's a great environment, big time environment for this football contest. I would expect, Jason, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 there. I mean, it's going to be legitimate. There'll be temporary seating, I'm sure. That's not customarily there at Marion. It's going to be a big time game. Yes, I know it's NAIA versus Division II, but in this region, it's a very big deal.
I think it's. It's NAI versus Division II, but it's an inner city battle. It's two really good football teams that have traditionally been in the postseason in a city that there isn't really like big time Division I college football. I mean, Indianapolis has Butler, which is an FCS non-scholarship, and then my stupid, is that it? Is that it for football?
Yeah. These two and then Butler. So you get a bunch of Division IIIs in the surrounding area. Then obviously Indiana University is about an hour south, but you're right, Indianapolis. Those are the three.
Yeah, so I look forward to this game for a couple reasons. One, you've got a rated D2 team taking on a rated NAI team in Marion, which I've caught a lot of flack for, actually, ranking Marion as high as I did. A lot of non-Marion people in the Mid-States Football Association, maybe they're fans of St. Francis, I don't know. They may have reached out to me and said that they did not appreciate me putting Marion as high as I did. And I said, well, that's why I have a poll, and you can freely disagree with it. If I'm wrong, you can rub it in my face. But also remember, if it goes the other way, I get to do that part too and go, ooh, sorry, I'm a child, Pat. You know that.
I don't hear anything. So this is all, you get all the flack. I'm just kind of hanging out. I don't hear any of the social media gripes. I don't get any of the stones thrown at me. It's all you, buddy. I feel for you.
No, it's fine. I've been that. It's kind of my favorite thing over 20 years of doing this is taking, some of the shots and just being like, oh, finally did something that struck a nerve a little bit. If they're talking, the way I see it, if fans are talking to you and fans are disagreeing with your point, yeah, you're doing something right. And I'm not saying like I go out and like, overwhelmingly try to make these statements that get me in trouble. I don't think I do that at all, but it's like sometimes I make them and people don't agree with them. But I do think that Marion is a quality NAI football team, getting back to this game now. I really want to see how they match up against a perennial playoff, upper-ish tier. I don't want to say they're upper tier D2, but like that middle upper tier that's been a good program, and see how, Marion does against them. I am picking Marion to win this game later this week when my Around the Nation article comes out that kind of breaks down all of the different top matchups in the world of NAI football. But I really feel like Marion's got a lot coming back. They've got some really good things happening there. They do get this game at home. So I think they've got a little bit of advantage. Home field, I think, actually means something.
I tend to agree with you. I especially there. I mean, it's a great environment. Both these places, home games, there's an advantage there. I think if this is a key stadium on the south side, I would think it's an advantage for UIndy in that regard. No, this is a big one. I think I like Marion's chances. I do, Jason. I think the major thing that has to be looked at when you all watch this stream, watch initially up front.
Yep.
To be the team in white versus the team in navy. The team in white is going to be big and physical. I will promise you that. I know their guys and the guys they have up front, mostly Indiana guys, some Cincinnati, Southern Ohio guys, but primarily they get the pick of the litter of the big-time offensive linemen in this region. I will tell you, that's the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, is seeing the physical battle up front in the trenches. And I think Marion can play with them everywhere else. That would be the one concern I have for the Knights, is just how they match up with UIndy up front, both sides of it.
Yeah, that's the thing that it comes back to for me, is what's going to happen in the trenches, what's going to happen up front. I believe Marion's got a lot of experience coming back on the O&D line. It's where I kind of lean towards them and say, hey, I'm going to put it out there. Put this one out there for the NAIA. We're going to beat D2. And then if we lose, I'll say, well, it's D2. They got more scholarships than us, Pat. We weren't supposed to win this game.
No, UIndy's, you mentioned, Jason, they're not maybe a top 10. They're a top 15 Division II. I mean, they're pretty darn good. Top 15, top 18. I mean, they're going to be the conference champion in that league once again. They're going to make the postseason once again in that GLVC. So they are formidable. This is not a lower echelon Division II. This is going to be a battle and a game Indy should win. But I like Marion's they have a puncher's chance certainly in this game.
Yeah, kicking off an hour after that game on Thursday night, we've got Texas Wesleyan going to Lindsey Wilson University, by the way. No longer Lindsey Wilson College. We're Lindsey Wilson. We're the U now at LWU. I don't know. People change names. I'll screw that up 16 times in the next 5 years. But Lindsey Wilson, quality program in the NAIA, good amount of returning starters, getting this one at home in a game that they lost by 10 last year in Texas, 34-24. But Texas Wesleyan is that program we've talked about, Pat, trying to take the next step. They made the postseason last year. They graduated some talent. They've got quite a bit of talent coming back as well. So Texas Wesleyan's in that place where they really need to go out and win this first game. And I think a lot of people just go, oh, well, they made the postseason last year. Lindsey Wilson didn't. Texas Wesleyan should win this game. This is a heck of a road trip, and this is a heck of a test for the Rams coming out in week 0.
I have two things here, Jason. I have a mea culpa. First off, I think I said last show, Texas Wesleyan's, this is year 6. I think it's year 7, actually.
Yeah.
I think year 6 was last year. Made the postseason. I think this is year 7. So I want to get that correct. If you got some flack for my mistake in saying that last week. But
we need a Tony Reale. We need a stat boy here.
Stat guy.
At the end of it to tell us everything we do.
Yeah, it's you. You're the encyclopedia of NAIA football. Let's be honest.
Unfortunately, and if I miss it, it's like,
yeah, we got nothing. I think Wesleyan is a great football team. We watched it last year. They progressively got better. I watched this game last year, Jason, down in Fort Worth. Watching this game, and then you see them towards the end of the year, more dynamic. You could see that. That experience, more explosive offensively. You could see those things from the Rams. I think they're humming, man. I mean, if things progress, what we saw end of last year, really getting great experience playing Benedictine, a great football program. We talked about before. We're looking for them to take this next step and really get more into the national scene. Talking about Texas Wesleyan. Now, with that being said, this travel, I mean, this might be planes, trains, automobiles, rickshaw, fan boat. Keelboat on the river. I'm not sure how we're getting there. Fort Worth I love the state of Kentucky. I lived there for many years.
Yep.
But man, this is a remote part of the world, Jason. I'm not sure where they're going to stay, how they're going to get there. I'm assuming flying to Nashville, Louisville, or Lexington. I have no idea. They're all about equally far from what's the town again? Lindsey Wilson. It's in Columbia, Kentucky. Yeah. They're all far from there. So I'm not sure how they're getting there, where they're flying to. There's going to be some distraction, I guess is my point for the Rams. Now, with that being said, this team's been there and done it, played at a high level, played some postseason games, had some travel. Obviously, the league is a lot of travel. So they're probably accustomed to it, but I will tell you there will be distractions with this game. So I think that's probably worth a score for Lindsey Wilson in that regard. But I think Texas Wesleyan's a heck of a lot better than that, Jason. So I'm looking forward to the Rams to win this game by a couple of scores, but I do think it's very competitive early.
Yeah, I'm a little different than you. I think the early season travel that we've got, planes, trains, and automobiles to get there. Lindsey Wilson, I think, is going to be better than what they were last year. I think early in the season, Texas Wesleyan's going to have to make some adjustments. They've lost some key contributors on offense, so they're going to have to kind of figure out who else is going to come in and be a part of that. I think it's going to be much closer than that. I think it's going to be less than a score. I think it may come down to, last possession of the ball game. I think Texas Wesleyan is going to win this, but my article I've got coming out later this week, I've preemptively put in some numbers on it, and I've got this one going about I think 31-30.
Okay.
Texas Wesleyan getting the win over Lindsey Wilson. I've got a ton of respect for Lindsey Wilson and their program, and I think what they could potentially do this year with some of that returning talent. So with all of that said, the ball is really in Lindsey Wilson's court. I think they've got a great opportunity for an upset here. I think Texas Wesleyan's the better team and is going to be the one that gets the victory. But I think it's going to be closer than maybe what some are thinking here, Pat.
It'd be a great way to start the season. I mean, that's awesome. Then you get 2 great games on Thursday night to watch back to back, and you get one on the television on the live stream, the one on a computer or an iPad. Highly recommend. These are both great matchups. It's going to be a fantastic Thursday night. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I my Thursday night will be that. It will be
Mhm.
obviously starting off with Marion and Indianapolis, getting this other game going. Hopefully, getting the young one to sleep to be able to check out the second half of it live, and then hopefully that we can get a little huddle film on these games as well, because give us a better chance to kind of break things down for next week. But
Absolutely.
I'm really looking forward to Indianapolis and Marion kicking off the college football season. Marion having the first NAIA game, but this second game definitely one not to snooze on either. As Texas Wesleyan and Lindsey Wilson will have a great one there. We go to our Saturday featured games, and we'll come back and do the whole schedule here in just a second. But we want to spend a little more time on these games here, and our Saturday games that we've got coming up: Montana Western, Montana Tech, Kaiser at Indiana Wesleyan. Holy cow, Pat! Like these are primo games right here, and we're getting them week 0.
Yeah, who needs Ohio State, Texas?
Yeah,
Let's watch Kaiser and Indiana Wesleyan at noon.
exactly.
I'm a huge fan of this game. Obviously, it's in my backyard here, just about 40 minutes hour south of me, maybe with traffic. Fantastic matchup. I'm excited to see the Kaiser Seahawks come north. Haven't seen them really do it playing the national championship. So I think it's going to be a cool deal to see them up here in this part of the world. I unfortunately will not get to this game, but I'm going to watch it certainly on the live stream and hopefully on Huddle. I think this is an interesting matchup for a couple different reasons, Jason. One, Kaiser's travel is pretty significant. Number two, we know how hot IWU is early season. This could be one of those games. I'm picking IWU, Jason, because of what we've seen in the past of the Wildcats being like their hair on fire early in the season and blowing the doors off really good teams. And then they may have a head scratcher towards the end of the year. Then they maybe have an injury bug, don't perform as well in the playoffs. But early season, I mean, I saw in person last year, Jason, Indiana Wesleyan just beat a very, very good, beat handedly, a very good playoff University of St. Francis team. By 3 touchdowns.
Was that, I can't remember, was that a week
First
0 or
week
week 1?
Week 1,
okay.
I think it's first week of September.
Yeah, I remember that too, being very early and going, whoa. Like,
yeah, and it was not even close.
Yeah.
It was not even competitive really at any point in the game. So I kind of have a feeling, I'm not saying it's a blowout by any means, but I have a feeling that the Indiana Wesleyan's really geared up for this one. Here's a team defending national champion from 2 years ago, national runner-up last year. Indiana Wesleyan's pissed, Jason, I think, from how things ended last year, because there was a point, like we talked about, they're as good as anybody. I thought by week 3, week 4, week 5, they're as good as anybody in the country. And I think this is going to be something, a motivating factor for them, having a big, premier program coming to their house, again, one of the best facilities in NAIA. This is going to be a big-time game. And I think the Wildcats are going to be up for the challenge. And I see a victory for the home team.
I can't – I'm still working on the article. I don't know which way I'm going to go. I'm like you. I'm leaning a little towards Indiana Wesleyan, but then also back towards Kaiser, because now, even though Indiana Wesleyan is starting a quarterback this year that played some for him last year, and he's been with the program, Kaiser's got Shea Spencer. And I'm a big believer in Shea Spencer and what he brings to a team, and just in terms of leadership and that kind of that glue that brings everything together. They've got to replace some people in the running game, although they've got the Miller kid back, who was a key contributor last year. On the passing side and in their air game, if you will. I think they've got some talent there, but again, they're replacing some guys, and Indiana Wesleyan just seems like they are so keyed up early in the season that you've got the road aspect of this as well for Kaiser. I keep going back and forth like my head in the screen right now. I just really feel like this is one of those games, like, up until the last minute, I'm going to be flip-flopping on who I think I'm going to win, because I'm going to reconvince myself of the other argument. But I'm with you. I could see Indiana Wesleyan, getting this victory at home and really starting things off really well for themselves. I could see Kaiser coming out, because let's be honest, like, my poll, also, or not my poll, but my preseason write-up on the Sun Conference, you listen to a lot of people out there. A lot of people are saying, well, Kaiser's had their run. We really think St. Thomas is a team that can, kick things up a notch in the Sun Conference this year. So we'll put Kaiser too, but we don't fully expect them to be there at the end of the year. I think that's getting in people's head. at Kaiser University. And I think this is something for them to go out and prove that, hey, we'll go on the road. We'll get this win. Yeah, we lost a lot of firepower from last year, but we're still one of the best programs in the NAIA. There's that aspect of it too, Pat. So I don't know which way I'm going with this game yet, but there's one thing we can guarantee. This is going to be one heck of a football game come Saturday at Indiana Wesleyan.
Must-see game, no question. And I'll be honest with you, Jason, as we're sitting here talking about it, if this game is in South Florida, I'm probably picking Kaiser.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things. I'm going to take the home team because it may be significant travel. This probably is not really an easy trip either. I mean, Indianapolis is probably an hour from Marion, Marion, Indiana, not to confuse it with Arian. This is Marion, Ion is the city where Indiana Wesleyan is. So, there's going to be some distractions, certainly. I think if it's South Florida, I'm picking Kaiser. I'm going to take Indiana Wesleyan here in Indiana.
Yeah, I don't disagree with it. It's going to be a great game. Also on Saturday, if you eliminate the first screen and I said, hey, here's the two best games on Saturday, you'd probably go, holy cow, like that, there's another great set of games. But again, these are the ones that we're featuring for this Saturday. You got Campbellsville at St. Francis on Saturday, and you've got Morningside at Benedictine and Atchison, Kansas. Let's talk about the top game on the screen here first. Campbellsville at St. Francis, a noon kickoff just down, well, not really the street from you, but in the town in which you live. The Fighting Tigers coming to town to take on the Cougars. What do you think, Pat?
I think these are two good offenses, two great quarterbacks. Josh Kulka is back from what I'm hearing. We talked about it last week. The great quarterback at St. Francis. We know Jagger Gillis. He's coming back for the Fighting Tigers. Pretty good travel again. It's going to be one of those early season matchups that, I love this so much because I know I've been there as a coach. And when you have like a team, like maybe a guarantee game, you're paying some non-conference Division III to come in and beat up on. It's kind of tough to get your guys motivated for that, Jason. But when you have a team that was right on the cusp of making the postseason last year, you got that motivating factor all year. It's like, guys, we got a ranked opponent. Campbellsville's around the outside looking at it. I'm going to call them a ranked opponent. To me, they're ranked. They're a top 25 team to me. It's like, guys, they got a top 25 team coming into our house. This is something we've got to get ready for. This is the first time in program history Coach Kevin Dannelly's not on the sideline for the St. Francis Cougars, which can be a unique deal. So Adam Sherman's taking over for Dad there, and it's going to be a different deal, certainly. First time in 28 years that Kevin Dannelly's not patrolled the sideline at Bishop Darcy Stadium. So it's a unique deal. It really is. I mean, it's first time ever. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I think it's a great battle between two great quarterbacks. I think St. Francis's pass rush is going to be a major factor in this game. Because if I had one negative to talk about last year with the Fighting Tigers, is sometimes they didn't do a great job protecting old Jagger.
Yeah.
And they've got to in this game because there's two or three pass rushers for the Cougars that are legit. And they're going to get after him. They're going to try to, at least, and they've got to do a good job. The Tigers have doing a good job of insulating Gillis and allowing him to distribute the football to their athletes. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think St. Francis having this game at home with the talent and everything that they've got coming back, I think it's their game. I think they will win it. But like you said, Campbellsville's got a heck of an offense. If they've shored up their defense a little bit and can kind of push St. Francis around a little bit, not let them get them up and down the field. And then conversely on offense, if Jagger Gillis can kind of pick things apart, get a little time to throw the football back there, I think the Tigers could stick in this one. So it's not one of those games I'm just handing it to the University of St. Francis. Says St. Francis is going to win, Campbellsville ain't there yet. No. I really feel like Campbellsville is a football team that, this game means a lot for them. This is a non-conference rated game, one of those kind of like, hey, as we're starting off this season, instead of starting behind the 8 ball and out of the top 25, this is that game that we can go out and win, prove people that we belong, and then all of a sudden people are talking about them the rest of the year. So I think Campbellsville knows that. They know that St. Francis is one heck of a football program. And I don't really think in terms of travel, like, yes, there's travel involved here, but this isn't like crazy unheard of travel.
5 hours and change, maybe. Yeah, 5.5. Not terrible.
I just say that. I think I've made that trip. I think I've been to Fort Wayne and gone to Campbellsville when I was out doing the 2-a-day tour way back in the day.
We played them back in 2002, I think, in the playoffs.
Okay.
Had a good team back then, yeah. The craziest Crown field I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the grass field of Crown? It's a Kentucky thing, I think, or a South thing.
Oh, no. I mean, in Nebraska,
too.
Yeah. Nebraska back in the day when everybody was running the football, running the option, everybody had a crown,
Run downhill, baby.
This is going to the Wayback Machine. In fact, you probably remember this one. I think an even crazier crown than what Campbellsville had, because I think the first time I saw the University of St. Francis play in person was at William Penn
Oh yeah,
on the old
Mhm.
grass field.
In
And that
town
was
there,
in town there.
Oskaloosa?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that you could stand on the goal line and look across to somebody else standing on the other goal line, and you couldn't see below their knees. Like
Hmm.
they're
Well, sideline to sideline the same way.
Yeah.
Campbellsville was that way. You can see, torso up's all you could see from your opponent
Yeah.
across the field. So yeah, the crown was pretty significant. Obviously now it's turf, don't have that same
Yeah,
feature, but yeah, I just don't know why I brought that up. Just I remember being there, and it's been a few years. So
No,
2001, I think we played there.
In Campbellsville, yeah,
Yeah, in
I
Campbellsville.
believe
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah,
Game in Oskaloosa was 2007. No. Because you'd have
Four-
played 2003. I think we played them there. That was the first time you saw St. Francis. Came back in 07, I remember,
Yep.
to Oskaloosa. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest and say, and the William Penn program that you guys played way back the first time I saw you guys, they had some problems. They had some issues. Now, I mean, record wise, they kind of go up and down, but as a school and as an institution, it's like, okay, holy cow, like it's light years different. But anyway, we're getting off track here. Shocking, we do that. St. Francis is my pick in this game. Although I think Campbellsville is going to give them a fight every step of the way.
I was going to say dog fight. I think it's a cat fight. Tigers and that's so cliche. So I think it's a great football game. I think it's two great offenses, two great quarterbacks. I think it's going to be awesome to watch. So I expect some offense, Jason, but who knows? Early season, there's going to be some miscues, whatever it may be. I think two great quarterbacks. I'm going to say that for sure. I can guarantee that. Two really good quarterbacks going head to head in this one.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, so we move on. This could be.
This is a good one.
This has been one of the most anticipated football games of the year. All of the offseason. Everybody's seen this the last couple of years. It's always a great game. Morningside and Benedictine. Essentially a rivalry that has been spawned from a non-conference game that two great coaches decide, hey, let's run it back every year. Let's keep running it back and playing one another. And they're doing it again. They're in Atchison, Kansas this year. Benedictine hosting Morningside. Man, I don't know. Everything that we know about these teams, it's really tough to pick a winner. Usually you land on the home team in a game like this, but the last couple of times that these teams have played, it's been the away team winning those football games. So Benedictine won last year in Sioux City. Morningside won 2 years ago down in Atchison. So does that trend stay the same this year? It's tough to say. What we can say is this is two of the best programs in the NAIA going at it week 0. Holy cow, man. Like these are the things that you dream about when you're a fan of this level.
I give so much credit to both of these programs for doing this. Like we talked about, I think a couple weeks ago, they don't have to do this. They really don't.
No.
But it's great for everyone involved and great for the NAIA. And I think it does do something for those programs. Benedictine winning that game last year, I think really, set them off to great things last year. Really did. I mean, you beat a team like Morningside, who is perennial power, 3 national championships in the last 6-7 years.
Yep.
That's a big time victory. And this season, man, you couldn't hold a gun to my head and make me pick this one. I mean, this is really a pick 'em game. More so than I think any others that we've talked about. I think this is a true pick 'em game. I could definitely see this coming down to the last possession, something maybe even crazy like the Kaiser Benedictine game last year. I would not surprise me at all. It comes down to that final possession and maybe whatever defense can kind of hold the opposing offense to under 500 yards. I mean, it's going to be a shootout. Again, talk about great quarterbacks. Maybe 2 of the top 4 or 5 for sure. I would say that's pretty firm in saying that, considering your top 99. Both those guys, Dooley and Chevalier on there. I think they're both awesome. These quarterbacks are great, must see, guys at their position at the highest level of the NAIA. So I think it's going to be a great one. It should be, in my opinion, a high scoring shootout, I think. But man, this is going to be one of those games coming down the wire in my estimation.
So this game is actually the Urban Edge Network Clash of the Week, Morningside and Benedictine. So there'll be all sorts of stuff happening with the Urban Edge Network on this. It's going to be broadcast on UEN, and there's a chance, albeit and I'm pretty sure this is happening, although I'm still kind of waiting for some final confirmation that there's going to be a pregame show for this football game, Pat. And I may be involved in it.
Maybe.
I've been here's what facts I can tell you. I have been asked to host the pregame show on the Urban Edge Network for that football game on Saturday. It's going from 11 until 1 or 10 until noon. I think 10 until noon. I don't know. It's a 2-hour pregame show that we're doing with that. I've been asked to host that. We're working on effort to make sure everything goes away. I know that the production company that is putting on the pregame show was at Benedictine doing a site visit and all that. So check out the live pregame show this coming Saturday. There'll be all sorts of stuff on it, more announcements coming. But for those of you that are going to be checking out this football game, all those other pregame football shows that take place on a Saturday morning, click. Not entertaining. You know what's entertaining is some guy just babbling NAIA statistics that you had no idea even existed or were even accurate. Just babbling them at you for 2 hours. So I think that's what I'm doing Saturday. Pretty little pregame show. Looking forward to it.
Pat McAfee has nothing on JD. I can tell you that right now. There's nothing on Dannelly. So I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm anxious to. I'll be another part of the country, hanging out, and I'm gonna flip on the old pregame show right before the Morningside Benedictine game. So I'm looking forward to that. So you're still waiting on the official word, huh?
I think
travel arrangements.
I think it's all going. I mean, I've been told, I've been asked, and I've been told to be there. So I believe it's happening. They're just, I feel bad saying anything because there really hasn't been like a press release announcement. So I'm kind of like, that's why I'm kind of holding back a little bit because I don't want to like blow it up if they were trying to do something else. Although now I've talked about it and they're probably going like, dude,
pressure.
Why'd you do that?
Why'd you do that?
Why'd you do that? We don't want you talking about this.
The real truth is there's contract discussions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Your agent's on the phone with their people and, trying to, get an extra sub in there for you or something.
Yeah. I was going to say, no, they only allot for a 6 long. And I said, I'm not going anywhere unless it's a foot long.
That's right.
Give me that foot long.
Soggy sub on the bus.
Soggy sub on the bus. Hey, I do have to point out, we do have some people listening into the show. We have people that listen to the show and watch the show all the time. Eric Watson, sounds like someone takes offense to the cat fight statement on our Campbellsville, St. Francis. I don't know.
There's 2 cats. It's a cougar and a tiger.
I was doing this on the screen. That was going.
I saw that.
Meow.
It's a cat and a cougar, or it's a tiger and a cougar. Those are big giant cats.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to fight either one. There'd be some dogs. Yeah. I think if it was a true dog fight, I think I could survive a dog fight.
Oh yeah,
cat fight. Cat fight between tigers and the cougars. Jason's dead.
Yep, not fun.
Pat's hosting this show by himself.
Like time Garth had to host Wayne's World by himself, just stare at the camera. That'd be me.
It'd be more like Major League when Bob Uecker passes out and Monty's like ball.
Yeah, I love it. My favorite sports movie ever. I love Harry Doyle. I love Harry Doyle. R.I.P. Bob Uecker. Legend.
Legend. We'll have some Budweisers or Miller Lights actually on the show sometime in his honor. Anyway, Morningside Benedictine. I haven't talked much about the matchup here. Holy cow. This is everything that you want it to be. I mean, Morningside's offense, a high-powered offense, one of the most prolific passing quarterbacks in the country. In Zach Chevalier, you've got Dooley on the other side as a quarterback. You've got 2 really good defenses. I think ultimately this game's going to come down to you've got both teams that have graduated a fair amount of guys on defense. Not everybody, they've got experience coming back, but who fills those holes in? Because I think both teams have got such an experienced offense that they can get down the field, pick things apart. And ultimately, this game last year, as we remember, Pat, came down to turnovers. And it's cliche to say, well, the team that doesn't turn the ball over is going to win it. That's really going to be the case here because I think Morningside, last year, they really put themselves in a hole early on. 21-0, they were down early, 21-3, 21-7, something like that. They went down big early, had to claw their way back, almost did it, Benedictine ends up getting the victory. So you eliminate a turnover out of there, and Morningside right in this probably gets the victory. So I think that is on the forefront of everybody's mind this year. You got to protect the football, can't turn it over. Just looking forward to it. Oh, hey, look at this. I'm getting invites already. Supposed to come on out to the Morningside tailgate. I would love to. I think I'm going to be hosting a show at that time.
Yeah, you can't really drink beers while you're hosting.
Well, you can. It will be the only
can.
time that I get asked to host a pregame show for Urban Edge.
And we're all over the place with broadcasters today, but do you remember WGN back in the day, in the 90s, of Harry Carey? Just gas and Budweiser right in the middle of the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Just mispronouncing names left and right. I will never, ever forget, Jason. I was probably in high school, and it was probably 104 on Lake Michigan that day. And literally, Harry just says, I wonder how Budweiser will taste about now. He literally said it on air. I'm like, this is fantastic. The great Harry
he's
Carey.
absolutely the greatest. But
Legend.
do appreciate the invite. Perhaps I'll have a minute to come out and say hey to the Morningside.
Drew Sellen's parents, I'm assuming, the great receiver.
I'm assuming so.
The Mustangs, I would assume so.
Yeah.
Heck of a ball player, man. He's fun to watch. Can't wait to see him this season.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. And if I get a chance to come out and say hi to people at the tailgate, certainly will. Did you say who you're picking in this game? We've been babbling for a bit.
No, I'm not picking anyone. I am going to. No, man. I think I love the Ravens this year. I do. I love Dooley. I think he's fantastic. I think this is a Morningside. I hate to call it a resurgence. I think this is a Final Four year for the Mustangs. I've kind of felt that, since we started talking about this season. I'm going to say Morningside by a field goal.
Okay.
Something like that. In the 40s. I think the score is in the 40s.
I don't
45, 42, something like that. I mean, it's going to be something like that.
Yeah, I don't begrudge that. I'm probably going Benedictine, home team, but what will surprise me is if one team beats the other team by more than 2 scores.
No question.
If we get a 31-14, a 42-21 game, I'll be very surprised by that. And good for the team that wins the game by that much. But I just think we're going to be in such a tight battle. You can't, it's just so tough to pick. Also, another featured game on Saturday. By the way, Pat, we need to roll through these pretty quick because we've gone 40 minutes on featured games and haven't hit the rest of the schedule. And we still have EJ Peterson joining us just a little bit later on here in the program. Pikeville at Georgetown. This was a heck of a game last year between the Bears and the Tigers. Oh, my. Georgetown getting this one at home. I think they've got a little bit more coming back. Pikeville, they've got some question marks. They've got some new dudes that they got to work in. But I think Pikeville's still going to put up 1 billion yards. They do that. It seems like every week. I think the Tigers get it, but I think Pikeville's going to push them again this year.
Pikeville's going to throw punches. That's for sure. They have no hesitation or qualms about taking the ball down the field, Jason. They love throwing it. New quarterback, I think they're breaking in. I believe we talked about that last week. The new quarterback, they're breaking in. New coaching staff, at least the head coach with Georgetown. Going to be a lot of interesting elements to this game, some storylines certainly. But it's going to be fun offense. It's a great location. There's nothing better than Georgetown College, that environment, that stadium, cool place. Be another great game to watch Saturday night.
I'll say one thing real quick about Coach Perrin at Georgetown, and I may get a little guff, kind of also maybe from St. Francis fans as well. Perrin takes over after being coach on staff there. He's a new head coach, first-year head coach there, Adam Sherman, taking over at St. Francis, first-time head coach. He was on staff. And I don't talk about that a lot. And I had somebody ask me, man, you're not really, are you just giving Georgetown at St. Francis, the benefit of the doubt, because they got new coaches too. And it's yes, I am, because I think when you have somebody that's been in the program that is elevated to head coach, it's much different than bringing somebody in with a whole new system and everything. So I haven't talked about, the coaching change at Georgetown much, not because I'm not excited about it, but it's okay, Perrin was there. It's now his program. He's going to put his stamp on it. All the kids know him. Everybody knows what's going on. He's got his own little thing that he's going to do with it, but I don't think it's as big of a deal knowing that, Coach Oliver left things in such a good place and Perrin is such a great coach that I don't think that they're going to miss much there. I think that them having a new head coach doesn't play into this game as much as Pikeville graduates a quarterback, graduates some wide receivers. They've got a lot to replace on offense. So I think Georgetown ends up, getting this win at home, maybe by a score or two. But Pikeville, man, we've seen it. They'll put up 1 billion yards.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, just kind of a little insider, background on both. We talk about St. Francis, new coach and all that. I mean, I think for the most part, from what I'm hearing, guys stuck around. I mean, there wasn't mass exodus, once Dad, stepped down. So it was one of those things where they retained. And same thing at Georgetown. Little insider. Their dad was in Georgetown last night for Coach Cronin's induction to the college football, or Georgetown College's Hall of Fame. Thank you. Easy for me to say. Sorry, I got it right. So Coach Cronin, congratulations to Coach Bo Cronin. Like my second dad, I swear, he grew up and, he was always around. His dad's right-hand man for those years and took over the program after Dad left and won 2 championships. So in the Georgetown College Hall of Fame, Dad was there last night. From what we're hearing, though, again, those guys stuck around with Coach Parent. So, I think what you're getting at, Jason, is true, where, those guys that get elevated from assistant to head coach, retain your players, those guys that were playoff, a playoff team last year, retain those players. That's everything. So I would tend to agree with you. I'm going to lean towards the Tigers in this one. Home game, new coach, yes, but retention of a pretty good roster.
So that is a look at the featured games in NAIA football. I do want to get through kind of the rest of the schedule and everything else that's going on. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because we've got a good 30-minute interview coming up with EJ Peterson from Grandview that we need to get in as we head out into the start of the NAIA football season. So, kind of, rapid style, I guess, if you will, Pat. Let's blow through this. Let's look at the remaining schedule happening on Thursday. You've got Olivet Nazarene in Taylor. You've got Cumberland's in Commonwealth. Midland is at Marion. Judson's at Mayville State. What's one that stands out for you on this list?
Just because of my knowledge, I think Olivet Nazarene and Taylor. I think Taylor's, an up-and-coming team, had a great season last year, so close to getting in the postseason, physical team. This is kind of a semi-rivalry game, Jason. They played for years and years. All the way back in the 70s and 80s. So this is a game that I think is a cool rivalry game against faith-based institutions that are somewhat close to one another. So they both wear purple. There's some connections there. But I think it's a good one. I'm a big fan of Taylor and how they play. I want to see this game and how it turns out.
Yeah, Olivet Nazarene's that team that I mentioned it earlier this year on one of the shows. What is it? They've had 7 or 8 straight winning seasons. I say there. They've been 6-4, 7-3, 8-2. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a program that just because they haven't been a perennial postseason qualifier doesn't mean that they're not a quality football team. So I like that one. I like Cumberland's at Union. That's kind of the reemergence of the brass lantern game there. Mm-hmm. That is a rivalry game. I think Cumberland's gets that. One that I'm interested in is Midland at UMary. UMary D2 program in the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, the NSIC. They're going to be hosting Midland. UMary has not been, beating the doors off anybody these last couple of years. And Midland is a quality NAIA program, consistent winning seasons there and everything. I really want to see Midland go to UMary and get a win. I think they've got that possibility, but, D2 program, it's a pretty big road trip. I mean, Bismarck is 3 hours from where I'm sitting right now. And Omaha, Nebraska is about 6 hours from where I'm sitting right now. So going to be a heck of a road trip for them out there to Bismarck.
Love to see Midland pull off maybe an upset, I guess it would be from a level standpoint, but we know the quality program that they have and, made some strides last year. I know you think highly of them coming into the season. I think you had them, is it third or fourth and third in the GPAC. So I think it's a cool deal. Good opportunity for them and go on the road and beat a Division II. That'd be pretty cool.
I like the fact to see Judson going to Mayville State. That's a team from the Chicago area coming out here to North Dakota to play a team out of the Frontier Conference. So that's an interesting matchup. Remaining games happening on Thursday. You got the Billy Bowl. William Penn and William Woods going against one another. William Woods, just their second year in the program of having a program. William Penn, a little more everything else coming back. Whatever that means. They've got more of an established program there. I think William Penn gets that one. Then Point at Faulkner, Valley City State at Dickinson State. Then you've got Nelson coming up from Texas to take on Mid-American Nazarene, and then Simpson at Southern Oregon. Pat, which one gets you excited?
I think Valley City State and Dickinson. I think that's really interesting. How do you think that's going to go, Jason? That's more your neck of the woods and your expertise. I know a little bit about Dickinson. Valley City is a team that's had big time teams over the years. What do you think in this matchup?
Whose defense is further ahead at this time, and which team's new quarterback has gelled into the system best? That's who's going to win it. Both teams starting new quarterbacks. Both teams lost quite a bit on defense, but have quite a bit coming back. I think Dickinson has this game at home, so I think Dickinson State does get the win. But Valley City's that team. I was surprised. The Frontier Conference coaches had them 5th or 6th on their side, or maybe even 7th on their side of the conference. And I just think Valley's got some guys coming back and a transfer quarterback. I think they're going to be better than what people are giving them credit for. So I think that's going to be a tight game. I think Dickinson does get the win, but if Valley comes out of there with the victory, I'm not going to be shocked by it. I think other people might be. I would not be shocked by that one.
Could be a good one. Looking forward to that one.
I like seeing Nelson, a team, obviously from the Sooner Athletic Conference, coming up to the Heart to take on Mid-American Nazarene. That's always fun. Again, when we get those non-conference games, you got to talk them up a little bit. And, what Coach Hudgens is doing to bring that team up to Mid-American Nazarene, that's a great non-conference game. And Simpson, a second-year program going to Southern Oregon, they are going to have problems in that game. Saturday, the rest of the schedule looks like this. South Carolina Christians playing NAIA Kentucky Christian. Florida Memorial at Reinhardt. That's a nice looking game. Texas College at Culver Stockton. And then you've got Southeastern at Fort Lauderdale. That will be a beating. And then that first game, South Carolina Christian. Kentucky Christian should win that game. If they don't, I don't know if we want to talk about it. So we really got 2 games on the screen here. Which ones do you like, Pat?
Memorial and Reinhardt to me seems interesting. Obviously, kind of the history there of those teams playing for a while now. But I'm a Reinhardt guy. I mean, I've played against him so many times. I know the talent. I know the recruiting base. I'm anxious to see if Reinhardt can really take a hold of the Appalachian and really be the dominant team, like I think they should be in that league. Them and Pikeville kind of back and forth. But I expect big things from Reinhardt this year.
Yeah, I think so too. This is game 1 of 4 to start the season for Reinhardt that are really going to be a big test for them. I think they can win this game, but Florida Memorial's got a heck of a lot of talent. They've got some really good ball players. It's good that Reinhardt has this game at home. I think that's going to help them a little bit. I like Texas College from the Sooner going up to the Heart to play Culver Stockton. I think Texas College had a breakout year last year, got 7 wins. They lost a lot of guys. The conference is picking them higher. The conference coaches, I think, picked them to finish 3rd this year. I picked them lower, so I'm interested to see how they do and how they compete when they go on the road to Culver Stockton, who's traditionally been a team kind of in the bottom half of the Heart. Culver does have a nice returning roster this year, but I'll be interested to see how Texas College does going on the road, going up to Camp, Missouri to play that one. Also happening on Saturday, you've got Defiance against Rio from Ohio, Grand. Avila at McPherson. You got Central Methodist at Missouri S&T and Waldorf at Northwestern. What interests you out of this slate, Pat?
The Ohio schools, one from the far northwest to the southeast. Trek across the state there in the state of Ohio. So, yeah, I'm anxious. I mean, it's first time ever Rio Grande's history has a football team and a football game. So, it's going to be exciting to see how it goes. I mean, again, Defiance, I think, is on the rise, but, it's always cool to see a new program's first game. Yep,
I would agree with you on that one. That one's got me most interested. Next one would be Avila at McPherson. The KCAC's crazy, man. It is crazy, crazy football out there. And I think Avila going to McPherson, McPherson was kind of on the outside looking in that conference last year. Do they get that win? Do they get that W at home? Keep the momentum going for them. So I'll be interested to watch that one as well. Also happening Saturday, you've got Cumberland at Tennessee Tech, D2 program there, or they're FCS. I can't remember.
FCS.
I think they're FCS. Yeah, you're right. Mount Marty going to Clark, Oklahoma Panhandle State at Peru State, and Carroll College is at Montana State University Northern. From this slate, Pat, which one draw? Keep it.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Which one are you going?
Well, I want to see Peru State. I do. I want to see Peru State. I think this is an interesting matchup. The coaches pick, Peru State, second league behind Grandview. I want to see, this team, early on and see where they are and how they've progressed from last season. So I think that's kind of the game I'm looking at, maybe the closest of this group.
Yep. I like it. That's probably the one I'm landing on too. I do like the Cumberland Tennessee Tech game. If memory serves, that would be the Dwayne Alexander Bowl. Dwayne Alexander was a head coach at Cumberland, and I believe he was the head coach at Tennessee Tech after he left Cumberland.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that one or not. We type that in. Dwayne Alexander. If I would have done any research on this whatsoever before the start of the show, I probably could have done that. But I'm nearly positive on that one. Tennessee Tech, enter. Yeah, he was the head football coach at Tennessee Tech, a position he held from 2018 to 2023. Prior to that, he was at Tennessee Tech. He was at Cumberland. Yep, Cumberland University from 2006 to 2012.
There you go.
Dwayne Alexander Bowl.
You are the encyclopedia of the NAIA.
Wikipedia just gave me that, but it wasn't my brain.
It was in your head. Hey, one we did not cover. We skipped over, Jason, many slides back is the Battle of Montana. We got the Tech and Western game we did not talk about.
Did we not talk about Tech Western?
We did not. No.
Oh.
I was going to bring that up kind of at the end. We got to cover that real quick before we kick it over to the EJ Peterson interview. Yeah,
we'll do that. Let's get through these games. We'll finish. We'll wrap up with that talk. Also happening. We've got Bethany at Friends, Hastings at Doane, Tabor at Sterling, St. Ambrose, Briarcliff, Evangel, St. Mary. Any of those there, Pat?
Love seeing Friends. Again, if you like that type of offense, they run it as well as anybody. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, we talk about Bethany kind of on the rise, the old Fighting Swedes. Look out, baby. Yep. It's going to be a good game. I think that's a really good game in that KCAC.
Yeah. I think Friends will win that one. I want to see how Hastings does at Doane. Hastings, a team that I'm picking to do a little bit this year. They got to go on the road rivalry game, and then St. Ambrose going into the GPAC to take on Briarcliff, kind of like that game as well. Also happening Saturday. Ottawa at Kansas Wesleyan, Bethel at Southwestern, Dakota State at Dakota Wesleyan, and Eastern Oregon at College of Idaho. Pat, what's drawing your eye to it?
See if Ottawa's back. I mean, Ottawa really, kind of had a unique year last year, something that wasn't customary for their program, and see if they get back in contention in the playoff picture once again. And Kansas Wesleyan's been consistent the last few years. I think it's a really, really good matchup there.
Nope, I would agree with you on that. I kind of like Dakota State, Dakota Wesleyan. That's a rivalry game. It's out there in Central or East Central. Yeah, East Central, South Dakota. Glad to see those teams being able to continue to play one another, even though they continue to be in different conferences. Dakota State, chance for them to get their season started. Dakota Wesleyan, maybe a chance to prove they're going to be a little bit better than what people are thinking they might be in the Great Plains Athletic Conference this year. And a great matchup, Eastern Oregon and College of Idaho. That's two teams that are, they're kind of in that middle tier, the frontier. And the winner of that one, gets a little bit of an advantage here early on. That's it. That's all those games. Pat, was there anyone other on that list right there that you wanted to mention?
I want to see College of Idaho post Andy Peters, see kind of where the next step is for them. And, that position been obviously a mainstay for so long with Andy there, and, kind of see where they go. Because that's a great, well-coached football team, good program, cool location. Everything's kind of going, College of Idaho. So I'm looking forward to see where they go this season.
Montana Tech, Montana Western. Let's talk about it. Let's wrap things up, and then we'll get into EJ Peterson here.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Jason? I mean, obviously Tech is a lot to replace. We know, Western with the firepower coming back, all the accolades and all the expectation to make a national championship run. I mean, that's all there. But Tech is something about Tech. Again, this is at Tech, Jason, I think. Is that what it said in the slide?
Yeah, Copper game.
Copper game, yeah. That's a big deal in this part of the world. And to me, one of the best home environments there is Tech. I mean, to me, Montana Tech, what a cool setting, what a cool, student excitement and fan base there in that great area of Montana. I think this is a big time game, but Western better buckle up. I mean, it's obviously a rivalry game. We know Tech is a physical team. I know there's some holes to fill. There's some key spots to fill. Lander Smith's not going to carry it 47 times in this game. Who's that next guy going to be for Tech? Who are those key contributors that they're going to have to develop here for the Ore Diggers? Not sure that is yet, but I think they're going to be in the mix here, and some guys are obviously going to have breakout opportunities in a game of this magnitude. But what a huge matchup! We have talked about all these huge matchups. This is another one that I think can be a must-see TV game, because it's two great programs, historical, teams in that part of the world, in this conference, that have made, postseasons and gone very, very far over the last few years. And again, not even talking about Montana Western really in great detail yet, but we know their firepower, what they have coming back.
Yeah, neutral site or this game at Western, I probably don't think twice about saying,
Right.
the Bulldogs are going to win this game. The fact it is at Tech in the Copper game to start the season, I mean, just look at what happened to Georgetown last year when they went up there and played in that Copper game, and Montana Tech pulled out that victory. So I really feel like that plays into the outcome of this football game. I do think Western is obviously a little further along with the quarterback and the special teams and the people that they've got coming back, their defense. They've just got more coming back. Montana Tech is replacing a lot of people, but Coach Sampson's such a good coach. He's got guys that have been waiting in the wings. He's got new guys that are coming in. They're going to be ready to play. It'll just kind of come down to, all right, there's a couple early game hiccups where Western's able to go down the field, bing, 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 get up 14-0, and then Tech has to battle back. If that doesn't happen, and they force Western to have long drives, extend those drives, make Palandry think a little bit on offense, then I think that this could really be a good football game. I think it could be one of those, 31-21 games where Western gets the win, but Tech just absolutely battles. But I do really feel like, it's a game that obviously we skipped over. Now we're coming back to because it's going to be such a great one in NAIA football.
Another classic. I mean, I'm with you, Jason. Can Western, win by a couple scores? No question, they can. They have the ability, they have the talent, they have, all the signs point to a huge season this year for them. At the same time, like you said, man, playing at Montana Tech is a big deal. Playing in Butte is a big deal, and there's not a better environment. And I think that's good for a score, Jason. I'll be honest with you, because we saw it last year with Georgetown. Georgetown was overwhelmed last year playing there, I thought. Yeah, and that was a good playoff team, a Chris Oliver coach team that is known, for being very, very prepared. And I thought, Montana Tech was brilliant in that game. It really made a struggle, for that program. Now, this is obviously more of a regional matchup and a rivalry game, but I do think, playing, in Butte is a big deal.
Per usual, we've gone way too long talking about certain things and then other things, and then we get off track, and we still have EJ Peterson to come. But with that said, that is our breakdown of all of the NAIA football games that are happening this week. If we didn't talk enough about your team, go ahead, throw us a comment, tell us that we're idiots. We'll be able to talk about them next week, or at least say, hey, those fans think we're idiots. Join the list.
And we offended people tonight, apparently. So.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I like it when we do that. Makes me happy.
I like arguing with people.
So we got EJ Peterson coming up. So Pat and I's live portion of this is going to wrap up here. But Pat, any last thoughts or anything going on that we should let the people know about?
No, I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you on the broadcast, the pregame show. Again, you brought it up, not me. I'm just going to bring it up one more time since you already let the cat out of the bag. Oh, I said cat again. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it happens. I'll be watching from at a different location, maybe towards the eastern part of the United States. But I'm going to be traveling this weekend. But I'm going to be watching my buddy Jason, hopefully host the NAIA pregame show.
The only thing in my head right now is Shorzy going, so dumb.
so dumb.
So dumb. I am an idiot. All right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm just looking forward to games getting here, everything kicking off Thursday night. It's going to be a great one.
Jason, I'm telling you, I'm a huge football guy, obviously fanatic. I am so looking forward to the NAIA games this week as much, if not more so, than anything else. I think these games are just fantastic. I mean, again, tip your cap again to these programs, setting these games up, these interconference games, and some conference games as well, playing first game of the year. So I think it's fantastic. Great job.
I'm juiced about it. It's college football. It's back. The NAIA is back. As always, folks, make sure you go out, download the Urban Edge Network app, get that onto your devices so that you can watch pregame. You can watch football games. You can check out all these NAIA games. If you're watching this on YouTube right now via the Victory Sports Network, subscribe. This way you can get this thing shown up in your feed all the time. Also, would like to get to 500 subscribers because then I can monetize then. Just saying. You can help out by just clicking subscribe if you would. Also, check out all the articles all week long on victorysportsnetwork.com. I have got the Around the Nation coming this week. I have got Chip's Picks coming this week. A few other things we're going to try to get thrown out there amongst having to not only travel for this job, but travel for my actual job. Pat, I'll I'll give you a call here after the show to tell you about that. It's going to be a week, my brother. Going to be a week.
Sounds good, buddy.
All right, buddy. He is Pat Donnelly. I'm Jason Dannelly. Stay tuned. EJ Peterson interviewed with Pat and I a little bit earlier on this week. That is coming up next. You guys have a great one. This is NAIA Football from the Victory Sports Network with Dannelly and Donley. This is the Victory Sports Network's NAIA Football with Dannelly and Donley, and we move into a special segment now where we talk with some coaches and we interview some of the dignitaries, if you will, of NAIA football, and one that we have been waiting to talk to for quite a while now. He is head coach EJ Peterson. Coach Peterson, thank you so much for joining Pat Donnelly and I to talk a little NAIA football. It's good to get you finally tracked down here and be able to talk about first season that you're going to have under your belt as the head coach of the Grandview Vikings.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Now, this is fantastic to touch base with you again. I think the last time, maybe outside of a couple emails and stuff like that I think I physically saw you in person. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you played in the Senior Classic back in 2010 for the Victory Sports Network, college fans, all that extravaganza, didn't you?
Yep. Yeah, we played. I think the game was in was it Salina, Kansas?
Yep, Salina, Kansas.
Down there in practice for was it about a week before we played the game, and had a lot of fun. Great experience.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun getting you guys around. We've got a small alumni base of NAIA football coaches that actually played in that game. Burke Brown, at Southern Oregon being another one. So it's always fun to go down memory lane. But I'll kind of kick things over to Pat here for some of our initial questions that we've got on you taking over as head coach of your alma mater. Pat, what do you got for EJ?
Well, Coach, congratulations on the job, first and foremost, and thank you for taking. You have nothing to do right now this time.
There's not much going on
with a former coach and the godfather of the NAIA media and Jason Dannelly. But we appreciate your time, certainly. And I'm not going to put words in your mouth, Coach, but this has got to be obviously you've been back home now for a few years as defensive coordinator and had all these accomplishments with this great Viking program. But I'm assuming, Coach, this is like a dream come true to be the head man of your alma mater, this great program.
Yeah, it was obviously when the opportunity came up. It was, to be honest with you, at first, it wasn't something that I knew that I wanted to do. I mean, it was, I had always kind of dreamed to get back here and be a defensive coordinator. And I didn't really, head coach wasn't really in the thought process. But when the opportunity came up, it was something that, as I started talking with my wife and family and, some of the other people and coaches that I respect, it was something that I just I couldn't walk away from, couldn't turn down.
Coach, let's go even further into the Wayback Machine, but it will bring us up to date here. So you graduated high school 2006, 2007, right? From
Yep.
just outside of Des Moines, PCM High School, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
The Mustangs, if I'm even pulling that right.
That's a great pull.
He's a godfather. I wasn't joking.
That's impressive.
The dumb things that are in this brain that I pull randomly. So you graduate high school 2006. At that time, if somebody walked up to you and said, hey, someday you're going to be coaching football at Grandview University and you're going to be the head football coach, what, like back in 2006, like it wouldn't even been a thought. There wasn't a program.
I mean, it was, and it wasn't even really a program at that time. And I mean, I to start off with, if you said, hey, you're going to be a coach for football one day, I would have been like, yeah, what? I mean, I was so, that was so far outside of my thinking at that point. I mean, I was just focused on trying to be the best football player that I could be and kind of what the next meal was going to be, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, it was, and even when I got done playing here, it really wasn't something that I had in mind. I kind of, went more of the, I wanted to get into the strength and conditioning side of things. And that kind of led me to my first opportunity coaching. And then I just kind of fell in love with the coaching side. And kind of came to a point where it was like, to be really good at either one of these, I don't think that you can do both and be the best that you can be, so it was kind of one of those things that had to make a decision on, do I want to continue down the strength conditioning path, or do I want to go all in with this coaching thing?
Coach, I'm one of those guys that played against you as a coach, and I know the player that you were. You're a tremendous player, and I can see the identity of your defenses since you've been at Grandview. I know Coach Woodley, obviously that relationship with your former head coach. There's an identity with your defenses there, the Viking defense. And it reminds me of you as a player, and I would guess as Coach Woodley as a player as well, which I didn't have the opportunity to see him play. But, kind of talk about, what the Grandview defense, since you've come back, obviously the influence of the Woodleys, both Coach Woodleys, when you were a player, and kind of that culture of how it's all kind of continued with you now at the helm as a defensive coordinator previously for the national championship team, and then moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up Coach Woodley, and I playing for Coach Joe, and then having the opportunity to coach with him and coach for him. I learned so much from him, and him and even Coach Mike. A lot of they're the reason that I'm sitting in this chair and have this opportunity. But it was pretty obvious early on, when I got to Grandview that there was a very high standard in everything, but especially on the defensive side. I mean, you were expected to be able to do your job at an exceptionally high level, and you were going to do it in a physical way. The whole ego thing, and you're going to have to leave that in the locker room. There was going to be times where you were going to be asked to maybe sacrifice a little bit for the betterment of the team. And when I first got to Grandview, it took me a while to get into the starting lineup. I mean, but when you've got a lot of good players around you, there's not only competition on Saturdays, but you have competition, Monday through Friday in practice when you're trying to work your way up a depth chart or kind of earn a spot. So that's just, and that's something that I've carried on and made kind of a priority for us, is that, hey, you're going to compete in the things in everything that you do, and we're going to be a team first. We're going to play a team style defense, but you're going to have to come out there and be physical. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's how we've been able to win football games, is having tough guys that love football, and there's no real beating around the bush about it.
Coach, you come from the defensive coordinator side. You're a defensive football player. Everybody recognizes you as the defense guy. Now you've become the head coach, and you've first time in your life stepping into that sort of role and having that now for the last 8 months. What would you say is the biggest thing that maybe you've learned or you've taken away that you didn't maybe previously realize in your role as a DC that now you realize as a head coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's always that. You always have that fine line from a practice standpoint of, you want guys to play physically and compete. But there's also the flip side of is, you want to have, you want to have productive practices that don't get sloppy, so to speak. I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing, that there's got to be a flow of, when you kind of press on that gas pedal and really have guys kind of ramp up that intensity. And then there's going to be times where you got to pull back a little bit, just again, so you can keep guys on the football field and keep them healthy. It's and sitting on the defensive side of things, it was, hey, like let's go all the time, and now it's you gotta. I'm standing behind the offense on team sessions, and we're talking about huddle breaks when we're coming out of there, and it's a different perspective, in practice, and that's something that I had to adjust to in spring ball and continuing to work on now this fall in camp.
Coach, I see that lovely photo of the Dr. Tom Osborne trophy behind you. I know you get to probably see it every day when you walk in the office. I would assume it's on display there in the office.
Yep.
look, just briefly, I mean, again, we want to move forward, obviously, to this season, but, talk about last year's experience and your team and you being the defensive coordinator, one of the greatest defenses in NAIA history, just unbelievable. And I've seen a couple of good ones, Coach. I've played against a few of them, but watching your team and the defense that you ran last year was just unbelievable. Talk about a little bit about that last year, that experience of the national championship, and what's going to take for the Grandview Vikings to keep Dr. Tom another 365 days.
It started with the guys that we had. I mean, we had an unbelievable group last year. Got guys that bought in from. I mean, I can go all the way back until winter workouts into spring ball a year and a half ago, where it was just guys just came out and just kind of had that blue collar mentality where they were just going to go to work every day and try to get a little bit better. And I've told this story a handful of times to people, but I think it kind of embodies what our team was about. Was we were going into the bye week of that kind of first round of playoffs, and we start off with good on good team tempo coming out of the locker room or off of flex, and our offense runs a stretch play. Just real basic stuff there. And our starting running back and our starting Mike linebacker, they collide with each other like it was the first day of fall camp. The sound and the intensity. And we're talking, we've been going at it for 3.5 months, but that's just the crew that we had. We had a group of guys that it didn't matter if it was, Tuesday morning at the third period, or if it was Saturday at halftime coming out of the locker room down 10 points. It was just that was our guys' mentality, and that's what it's going to take to be the best that we can be. You got to find a way to get a little bit better, especially when you go out there on the football field, because especially when you've had success, it's easy to get complacent, and so you've got to constantly challenge guys and remind them that, hey, everybody else in the country is trying to take what we have right now. Last I checked, for 2025, everybody's 0-0. So it's finding ways to challenge guys and create game type scenarios in practice. And give them the opportunity to go out there and compete.
We've gone 12.5 minutes, Coach, and I've been holding off asking it because I didn't want to just make it like my initial excitement and everything. But you've got Jackson Waring back at quarterback. That's got to be a pretty good feeling, right?
It's certainly not a bad thing. Jackson is. He is not only is he an unbelievable football player, he is lights out off the field too. He's part of our leadership council, and we've gotten to do a handful of things this summer and at the start of fall camp. And he is a unique individual, just from a sense of just the things that he does, not only on the football field but off of it. I can't say enough great things about the kid.
Coach, he is so multi-talented, all the things that he does. And we talked to Coach Joe Woodley last year after the championship, and we were just so complimentary of just, kind of like laying the weeds with Jackson Waring, not unleashing his full complement of talents till it mattered the most. Well, guess what, Coach? Everyone knows now.
Yeah.
That guy is a true dual threat player, can do it all, do it so well. And you mentioned obviously all of his intangible things and character and all those different things. I'm not asking you to show your hand, but how's he going to be used? Again, everyone expects that dual threat player, but at the same time, you got to keep him, healthy for 14 games, hopefully in your case. So, is there a balance there? Is there a plan? Is there, again, I don't want you to give all the secrets away of the Viking approach this year, but at the same time, we've all seen it now, Coach. That guy can do it all. And to make the Vikings the best they can be, he's going to be obviously the straw that stirs the drink for the offense.
Sure. I think that, anytime that you're talking about offense, it's in at any level of football, you're going to talk about the quarterback or what you have at quarterback. And, Jackson is, he obviously can run the football as well as he can throw it. And I mean, you see the kid in person, and I remember the first time that he walked in into our athletic facility, and he walked by my office. I said, "Hey, who's the new defensive end that we've got? He looks great." But he's not, he's not allergic to the weight room. He gets in there and he gets after it, and he's well put together. But it's like with, any guy that can use his legs at quarterback, you got to be smart. You got to know when to kind of press the gas pedal, and when it's, maybe it's time to get down or get out of bounds. And that's something that I know Coach Knock is in Coach Fulton last year talked to them about, is just being smart with his body, and kind of knowing some of those situations. But again, we've got a lot of good football players around him, and returning a lot of our offensive line, and some running backs and receivers that he's not going to have to shoulder. He doesn't have to shoulder the load, or shouldn't feel like he's got to press and make every single play. Again, it's still a team game, and he knows that. And yeah.
Yeah, well, giving a little bit of praise to the offensive line, you mentioned it there. You had James Wartick, Ryan Sadler, Nate Timmons, all guys there kind of back, along with other guys that, contributed last year. You lost a couple, but you have to feel pretty good about, just if you throw Waring out, you throw some of the other guys out, you have to feel pretty good about the offense just based on what's coming back in that offensive line.
Yeah, the big guys up front. I mean, it's you win and lose games in the trenches, and you look at our offensive line, and I mean, they're a large group of individuals. It's nice to see them up there leading the charge in practice, and it can be frustrating at times because they're experienced, they work well together. And I know that on the defensive side of things, like, hey, you're seeing a really good look every single day. But it's a fun crew to watch. It's also a fun crew to watch up in the cafeteria, because they'll put some plates down.
No doubt about that. Let's kick over to the defensive side. Same thing there. You've got some All-Americans coming back. Obviously, Argo at the linebacker position, Jackson Filer being another one, Casey Trudeau. I mean, you've got some solid guys, really, for the basis of this defense that did lose, some really good ball players as well. Obviously, you've got close ties with that side of the ball, but just talk to us a little bit about how that defense has looked through camp, and what gets you excited about that group.
Yeah, I mean, having John back, he did a lot for us, not just with his actual play, but just kind of being the quarterback of the defense, and making some adjustments. And he is as smart off of the field as a football player as he is on the field. He's a student of the game. He loves watching film. And so he's got a really good understanding of what's going on around him. And that's going to help with, some of the new faces this season, especially on that defensive line, and graduating both the interior defensive tackles. And we've got one of the guys back that was pretty heavy in the rotation, but having a guy in the middle that can help those guys, especially early on, kind of develop some confidence. But you've got Jackson Filer and Casey Trudeau off the edge that certainly help take some of that pressure off of the inside. So yeah, I mean, it's taking those veteran guys that have played a lot of football, and introducing a handful of new faces and guys that are stepping into some new roles. And then having some young guys, or some guys that have been in the program for a year or two, that are getting some opportunities to see, to show that, hey, they're ready for a larger role. And so that's that's been probably the biggest takeaway this last week or so, is just some younger guys that have stepped into some larger roles, and hopefully those continue to grow here in the next week or two.
Coach, you kind of started, talking about that. It was one of my questions. The guys filling in for those that have left, but have been around this great program and know the standard, kind of know what the expectations are. I guess the second part of my question is kind of that transition for you, being now the head coach, new offensive leadership on that side of the ball, just kind of all. Yes, it's the nucleus is back from the national championship team, but there's a lot of changes too. not only from a personnel standpoint, but also the coaching staff. Kind of talk about that. Has it been pretty seamless for the most part through spring ball, summer conditioning, now into camp? Have there been some things that were maybe unexpected, or has it been pretty smooth for you?
Yeah, I think, the assumption is that, you retain a lot of the coaches and you bring a lot of guys back that were on the previous staff. But it's also, you have a lot of guys stepping into new roles, like you said. And so us this spring kind of working through, we weren't making huge changes from how we scheduled practices and what we were doing in the weight room and in the off season and all this stuff, but it's still working through those things together and seeing, this is how we're going to do things, or how little things that we can adjust, getting through a scrimmage and, hey, what did we like? What do we have to change from a communication standpoint? What can we improve on? I think that's always that's always what I'm asking, the staff is, all right, hey, what can we improve on? What can I do better for you guys? Because it's obviously a new role for me. So the first team meeting that we had, I told the guys, hey, I'm going to make 100 mistakes along the way, but it's something that I'm willing to learn and excited for those opportunities. And so it's anytime that you're stepping into a new role, there's going to be things that you don't necessarily expect, and you're going to make small adjustments and learn, and that's how you grow.
I've spent a lot of time around the NAIA, and I've obviously, got to know a lot of different administration and presidents and athletic directors. You truly do have one of the best athletic directors in the NAIA in Troy Plummer. And I'm not just asking to say nice things about him because he's your boss, but what has he given you as a leadership directive or as advice as you've stepped into this, first year role? And what's the support been like from the administration for you?
Yeah, I think one of the things that Troy does a great job of is he lets the coaches in this building coach and do their jobs. He's not a guy that's constantly coming down into offices and, hey, I need you to do this or that. Or he is going to let us do things the way that we think are the best. And then as things come up, he'll come in and say, have you thought of this? Or I went upstairs in his office a handful of times and, bounced ideas off his head. Or he's been very supportive. Anytime that I've needed something, he is, he never hesitates to, hey, this is what I can do for you. This is how I can fulfill that need. So, he's been awesome in the transition, and just a good, just kind of mix of, hey, you're going to kind of figure this thing out as you go. But when you need things, the door's open, and I know that I can go up there, and he's going to support us as a program.
Coach, I want to ask you a question, and I want your best recruiting speech on this, Coach, because I'm an old recruiting guy. I love the whole recruiting element. You guys are the city on a hill right now. You guys won the national championship last year. In today's day and age of college football, mobility, transfer portal, all those different things. Of course, you still want to get great players directly out of high school. What makes Grandview and the Grandview Viking football program so special? What is the thing that attracts them? I think your location's great, certainly, but tell me kind of the things maybe we don't see. Obviously we're seeing the success, but what are the other things that are really, really special about Grandview University and your football program?
It's the people. I mean, it's without a question. It's the people that we have here. It's the players that we have, and you can't really see that until you come and visit and you sit down and meet with people. You step into the locker room, you come out to practice. It's just the guys that we have in our locker room, the people that we have in our administration, our program. I mean, it's that they love Grandview football, and they want to see it be successful. And obviously being in Des Moines is huge for us, but we're not who we are as a program without the people that we have here. And again, I'll go kind of back to when I was a player and playing for the Woodley family and coached like that. That was very apparent very early on that the people were the most important thing here. And that's something that, again, I I think is important. The most important thing, because if you don't, you can have all of the resources in the world, but if you don't have the people that get the most out of those things, you're gonna fall short or not live up to that standard. So I have that probably sounds cliche and all that, but I believe it. In last season, I think that kind of solidifies that thought process and what's the most important.
See, Pat, what he's not telling you is back in the mid 2000s, and I don't know how this happened, but there was this Lutheran thing that came together in the Midwest, and they took all the juju for red, black, and white Vikings, and they put it in Des Moines for Grand, and they took it away from the Dana College Vikings where I was. And that's why the school closed, and that's why Grandview has been so good, because they took all the Viking juju.
Funny story. So my wife was actually, she went to Dana College and played volleyball and softball for a year, and then she ended up leaving a year before the college shut down.
Well, she actually made a pretty good proactive choice there. And as a guy with a Dana College degree, like, hey, good move on her part, probably at this point.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she didn't keep the hot streak. She ended up marrying me. So I mean,
she's done okay. You know,
yeah, she's shooting 50%, I guess.
There you go.
All right, Pete Dana.
Yeah, I got to bring it up when I can, just to keep the memory alive for everybody out there. And also probably because one of the reasons that we weren't all that good, I will guarantee you probably weren't on the Dana College recruiting list back in 2006, 2007, even though you're just down the road in Iowa there a little bit.
I was on campus once, but it was to see my girlfriend at the time, now wife.
Well, what's hilarious, Coach, is last weekend I was actually on campus because I was back in Omaha for some family stuff, and I went through, and yeah, it still exists. It's just definitely not a college anymore.
A little bit different.
What is it? A park? City park? What is it now?
It's a bunch of different things. So there's Easter Seals part of it, where they've taken over some of the housing. There's kind of some different like low income things they've done with the dorms. The gym is being used by like the local high school and elementary schools. So they're utilizing it. So it's being kept up, but it's definitely kind of been segmented all out. But there is still a Dana College sign. So if you ever, you and your wife are ever longing for the days of many, many years ago and you drive through Blair, she can still get a picture by the sign.
Blair, Nebraska.
Oh man. Well, Coach, we've held you for a long time. We'll wrap things up with a couple final questions here, so you can get back to prepping for this upcoming season and doing all the other things that you probably need to do. What everybody's got, the goals, and they list out all the goals and the things that they want to do. But what's goal one? What's the first thing that when you're talking to your program on a day-to-day basis that you are putting out to them, and that is your goal as you go through every single step of this season? 1-0.
That's the first thing that we talk about. Go 1-0, win the first one, and that goes all the way back to the first rep of practice, the first segmented drill. If you can stack up going 1-0 consistently, you're going to have a successful football season from an individual standpoint and from a team standpoint.
Coach, we thank you so much for your time. Believe me, I know what this time is like. It is chaotic. I still see you. You're still in the office. Got to get home to your family at some point tonight, and we appreciate your time. Again, first class program. So excited for you in this opportunity. Wish you all the best.
Thank you guys so much for having me on.
It's EJ Peterson of Grandview University, the Vikings, the defending national champions, and they're going to try to run it back again. Always fun, Pat, when we can talk to a guy that played in the level, coached his way up in the level, and is now running one of the best teams in NAIA football. Great to get EJ on.
So happy for him. I asked the question. It's got to be so cool for him to kind of come full circle of being one of the initial signing classes of the program's history to be a part of the national championship last year, and now take over as the head man from a guy that was a mentor for him. And how cool is that? And tell you what, man, that guy was a hell of a player, Jason, and you can see that the mentality of that defense last year. And I can see it continuing. And it's going to be a great football team this year. Again, you talked in our last episode about they're your your front runner for the national championship, and I can't disagree with that. And I'm excited for Coach Peterson and the new leadership there in that great program. And boy, they got some dudes, man. They got some guys coming back, and it's going to be a heck of a football team in Des Moines.
Yeah, man, I'm just excited for the football season to start and see what those guys have got up their sleeve. You know, you have this mentality of what Grandview football is, but new head coach, new coordinator, new defensive coordinator, all those sort of things. Like, there's just going to be some different wrinkles that you're going to watch and go, okay, I like that. That's different. So I'm definitely looking forward to that and the rest of the NAIA football season finally kicking off, man, because
Absolutely.
It's coming up, baby.
Of course, I try to pull information about how much are you going to run wearing. I want to know.
Yeah.
Man, that guy could carry it 30 times in the game and would just be, again, probably beat up too much, obviously, carrying it that much. But, man, I don't think anybody can tackle him, Jason. I mean, he's just a force. I mean, again, you see, the NFL level, Josh Allen runs a little bit. So does Lamar Jackson. Boy, what are you going to do? How much are you going to, deploy those talents? And I know he's not going to give me all the secrets, but I am curious. That is one of the main things I'm looking forward to this season is how much of a dual threat player is that great dual threat quarterback going to be this year?
I think we'll find out pretty often. They've got Benedictine early in the season, that a game that you can't exactly just say, hey, we're going to hold things back a little bit and, not show all of our cards. No, you're going to need it. Yeah. That's going to be a heck of a ball club that they go up against.
Two premier quarterbacks. That will be an unbelievable game.
All right, we've gone long enough. He's Pat Donnelly. I'm Jason Dannelly. This has been NAIA Football with Dannelly and Donley. We'll be back next Sunday at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, right here on the Victory Sports Network. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.